Hey guys, and welcome to finally another episode of NerdCrave. It has been like 2 months since I put a video up, besides that little excerpt from the Beeps and Bloops podcast, which if you haven't seen, please go and check out because I'm feeling mighty nostalgic for the days of the podcast, and we really only did about 20 or so episodes of that podcast, but it was a lot of fun. And if you like things like that, maybe we could consider bringing it back again in a similar form in the coming months. So definitely check that video out, the one that I did a couple of days ago. Leave it a like and a comment if you want to see more from those guys on my channel. But today, well, I want to tell you why I've been on hiatus and what's bringing me back finally. So I have been absolutely overhauling my entire setup in here. I got first a new computer because my old computer was crapping out, and then I decided that that major computer I didn't really want to do my editing on and a lot of my gaming on that computer. So I went and bought a new Acer Predator Helios 300 gaming laptop with a 3060 graphics card in it, 16 gigs of RAM, NVMe hard drive, and then I went and bought some additional parts, which this weekend we're going to upgrade that with an additional 16 gigs of RAM and another 1 terabyte NVMe to expand the storage for video editing and that sort of thing. I'm getting a new copy of the editing software that I use on Windows, which is Adobe Premiere Elements, the 2023 version. So I'll be getting that. I picked up the trial version yesterday to check it out, and I'm going to pay for that next week. And then I also picked up an iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch model, which I intend to do a lot of my video editing actually on the iPad Pro because Apple has just recently released Final Cut Pro for iPad, and I absolutely love Final Cut Pro. I sold my iMac last year because I wasn't really feeling it and tried to move back to Windows. Things have been a real mess for the last little while as I try to find my sweet spot, find my groove for shooting and editing and, cameras and all that kind of stuff. But I really like being in the Apple ecosystem. I like shooting with my iPhone. I like editing on the mobile devices and stuff, but iMovie was really lacking and I really needed something more professional. So now that we have Final Cut Pro on the iPad, I have that set up right here and I'm really excited to move forward. But today we want to talk about some Switch games, games that I have been playing this year and that I have decided are the favorite games in my collection. You can see behind me here, I don't have a huge Switch collection, but I have about twice as many as you see behind me in physical form. I've got a bunch over here that I'm going to talk about today, and then I have about twice as many again digitally. So I do actually have a pretty large Switch collection, probably about 150 to 175 games. And not all of them are fantastic, and not every experience on the Switch is fantastic. Frankly, I used to be a really big Switch fanboy, but that's before the last year or so of me discovering the PC ecosystem, which started for me with the lovely Steam Deck, of course, and then ballooned onto the entire PC ecosystem. And I've really found now that a lot of the types of games that I used to really cherish on the Switch, those indie games and those smaller, lesser known titles that really found a home on the Switch, I find that most of them run and play better on the Steam Deck or on my gaming laptop. Obviously the Switch is old, right? That X1 architecture is from 2015. It's basically a potato in today's terms, right? So I really wanted to focus on some of the games here that I think look and sound and run and play absolutely fantastic on the Switch and that are my favorite experiences to actually play on the Switch, even though I may have other options available to me. So first of all, sometimes there are exclusives. You know what Nintendo's like with exclusives. So the Splatoon series. Splatoon 2 is the game that I have really invested a lot of time into so far. I haven't moved up to Splatoon 3 yet because I really wanted to get the most of my money's worth out of Splatoon too. But as far as a multiplayer shooter game goes that is family friendly and colorful and fun in a Nintendo style, I can't speak highly enough of the Splatoon series. And you know what? Even though Splatoon 3 has been out for like a year, Splatoon 2 still has a lot of players on the servers. It's pretty easy to find matches and level up and rank up. This game's a ton of fun. And if you're looking for something casual that you can hop into and hop out of for 20 minutes here and there, this is the perfect game for you. If you don't know the Splatoon series, the idea is that you choose from a variety of weapons, and the objective of the game is to jump in with 3 or 4 other players on a team and see who can paint the most ground in a particular area. So yes, you do want to kill other players, as it were, but really the main objective is to cover the most amount of ground with your color of paint as possible. And that can lead to a lot of strategy in terms of which weapons you choose, whether it be a paint roller or a spray gun or, things like that. A lot of fun. If you haven't checked out the Splatoon series, you can pick up Splatoon 2 for like 25 to 30 bucks these days and just give it a shot. Of course, you do have to have Nintendo Online to be able to play online, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way of the world these days. Here's another game that I absolutely adore, and that is Trials of Mana. And this game is an action RPG. You know I love my RPGs, and this is bright and colorful. It's based on an older game from the SNES that was remastered and brought into full 3D here. The art style is beautiful, the gameplay is fun, the story is really great. You get to play as several different characters, and I absolutely love this game. I can't recommend it highly enough. The great thing about this game is it plays absolutely wonderfully on the Switch. It looks great, performance is great, sounds great. Highly recommend this for the $30 or so that you're going to pay to play this on your Nintendo Switch. Here's a weird one that I can't talk enough about. Snack World. I really don't hear anyone talk about this game, but this game is one of the more recent games from my favorite, or arguably one of my favorite developers, and that is Level 5, the people that made Ni no Kuni, and so many other fantastic games that I absolutely love. Fantasy Life and Yokai Watch, and this is them. And this is them through and through and through. This game is quirky and silly and funny, and it's got engaging combat. It's a setup where you kind of have this sort of Diablo-like combat where you go through areas and dungeons and clear out dungeons and stuff in a sort of top-down isometric Diablo-style game that's sort of roguelike, where you try to get as far as you can and gather loot and all that kind of stuff. Very fun game. Nobody ever talks about this game. It is pretty hard to find physically out in the wild. I have only ever seen this one copy that I hold in my hands. But when I heard about this game years ago, I grabbed it and I kept it because I absolutely love Level 5. And this game is worth your attention, let me tell you. What else have we got here? I've mentioned this game several times on my channel, and that is Dragon Quest Builders 2. And don't sleep on this game and its predecessor, Dragon Quest Builders, because these games are getting expensive on the Switch. Let me tell you, Dragon Quest Builders, the first game, which I have up there on the shelf, is one of the most expensive normal regular version games that you can buy on the Switch. It's worth well over like $110, $20 at this point. If you can find it for a good price for $30, $40, $50, definitely snap it up. They are both fantastic games, but I give the slight edge to Dragon Quest Builders 2. What is this game? Well, it's Dragon Quest and it's Minecraft. Dragon Quest, obviously, it's got a great story, interesting combat, great music, and then it's got the idea of building things. So you're given quests to build things for different people, build a town and manage a village and get your villagers to do stuff for you. There's like 80 to 100 hours of gameplay in this game if you want, and it's absolutely charming as all hell. Do I recommend this game? Yes. 10 out of 11 out of 10 out of 11 out of 10. Just absolutely fantastic game. And the Switch is probably the best place to play this because you can dock it, play it at 1080p on your TV, and then you can undock it and take it with you anywhere. A lot of fun to play, on the couch, in bed, at the cottage, whatever, just a fantastic game to take around with you. Highly recommend it every day. And then if you're looking for maybe a more cozy RPG, the Atelier series is a huge series. There are literally dozens of Atelier games. The Atelier game is an RPG series that has got heavy crafting elements. They call it alchemy, but it's just crafting, right? You take different materials that you find out in the wild and you combine them to make status buffs and new weapons and equipment and things for quests and new clothing and all kinds of things like that. Crafting is really important in this series, but the stories are really important in these series, and the thing that unifies them all is the vibe, the cozy, chill, positive, happy vibe. None of the stories in these games are fate of the world, fate of the universe. They're always, low stakes, happy, positive stories, and I really appreciate that. Now, this one is Atelier Sophie 2. And I find that this one has one of the best combat systems of the series, and I really like the story. It has a fantasy story where you get sucked into a different universe, a dream world, if you will. And I absolutely love this one. It's very charming. It's very beautiful. The art style is gorgeous, and it runs and plays and looks beautiful on the Switch, both in handheld and docked on the TV. So highly recommend Atelier Sophie 2. The thing with the Atelier games is you may want to buy them digitally here and there because they do get expensive very quickly. If you don't buy them within the first few months of the launch window, they start going up in price pretty quickly because they're usually limited physical releases. So definitely, if you see any Atelier game out there in the wild on any system, pick it up if you are interested in collecting because they hold their value and gain their value very quickly. All right, let's move to a different style of game, and that is a 2D, 2.5D style platformer that I think is probably, if you were to exclude Mario, probably the best 2D platformer on the Switch is Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which came out last year. This is a remake of a Wii game, and they did a fantastic job with it. The visuals are stunning. The gameplay is fast and fluid. If you're not familiar with Kirby, Kirby platforming is some of the most engaging platforming in the genre because Kirby himself has the ability to take on other powers. He sucks in whatever's in front of him and takes on those powers. So that opens the doors to all kinds of mayhem in platforming and some really creative solutions to problems in the environment because you can take on so many different powers, whether it be a weapon or a magical power or breathing fire or breathing ice or all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a really interesting story with this. When they remade this, they added a whole extra part to this game, which gives it a little bit more value than the original. The original on the Wii is also fantastic, but in terms of games that look and run and play fantastic on the Nintendo Switch, look no further than Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe. This is a fantastic, fantastic game. And there will be another Kirby game on this list, so stay tuned. Going more into the harder JRPGs, and that is Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. This is an action RPG, and if you're not familiar with the Ys series, there are quite a few of these games, and several of them are represented on the Switch, but many fans will tell you that Ys 8 is the best game in the series, and I'm not here to disagree with any of that. This game is fantastic. It is also expensive to find digitally, or physically, so if you find this game out in the wild, this is another one of those games that's worth north of $100. So if you find this out in the wild for a reasonable price, pick it up. Otherwise, wait for a sale and pick it up digitally. But by no means, if you are looking for a fantastic action RPG to play on your Nintendo Switch, this game looks great. It plays great. It has a great story, great visuals, great music. I absolutely love this game. This game is another 11 out of 10. Can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, it really depends on what types of games you like, and you're going to find that there are quite a few RPGs and action-adventure games on my list because those are the types of games that I really like to play. Here's another RPG that is an 11 out of 10, and that is Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of an Elusive Age. This is probably the best RPG, or at least the best turn-based RPG on the Nintendo Switch, and maybe one of the best turn-based RPGs of all time. Not a word of a lie. Now, can you play this on other platforms? Yes, I actually own a physical copy of this on my Xbox One, and arguably it looks a little bit better on the Xbox One. But that's no shade being thrown on the Switch, because this actually looks and runs and plays just fantastic on the Switch. The only thing I can say that is a negative to this game is that I don't think it was really designed with Switch handheld play in mind. And that is to say, it works fine in handheld, it plays fine, but the HUD, the UI, is not really designed for such a small screen. So I do find looking for things on the mini-map or trying to read some of the text in handheld mode is a little bit difficult on the Switch. So maybe if you're looking for the best version to play on your TV, you might want to go with the Xbox version. But if you are dedicated to handheld play like I am, you'll struggle through it, and you'll find that this is still one of the best ways to play this game, simply because you can take it with you on the go. What else have we got here? A platformer with a little bit more challenge and a lot of heart, Mega Man 11. Now, I've never been a huge Mega Man fan, especially the original Mega Man games on the NES were not really my cup of tea, but as time went on and I got better and better at some of these style of games and really longing for a retro style game, because a lot of you will know I identify as a postmodern retro gamer, as in I don't really like retro games anymore, but I do like retro inspired games, new games that are inspired by the gameplay styles and the gameplay, looks and that sort of thing of the old days, but with modern quality of life and modern controls and modern visuals and stuff like that. And you get all of that in spades here in Mega Man 11. This is a very creative game that is tough as nails, but absolutely just awesome, awesome, awesome. As you work your way through the levels and you find, more and more ways that they try to kill you with the environment, with, things swinging around and, pits and spikes and all kinds of crazy stuff coming at you. And you've got to learn the timing and learn the precision to get through, the enemies and the bullets coming at you and everything. Absolutely fantastic game, and this is probably the best way to own it, because it looks just as good on the Switch as it does on any other platform, at least in my opinion. And being able to play this portably on the go or on the couch while I'm watching some TV in the background, fantastic, absolutely love it. And then next, as far as collections go, there are a lot of compilation games on the Nintendo Switch, a lot of games that have a dozen or a couple of dozen games on them from older, like Namco and, Capcom Arcade Classics collection and stuff like that. But this is my absolute favorite, and that is Atari 50. And the reason why I absolutely love this is because so much love and care was put into putting this collection together, with all kinds of, museum elements, with documents and video clips, and so much history and love and care was put into building this package around Atari's 50th anniversary. And there are, 50 plus, 100 plus games on here. I can't remember how many games are on here, but there are so many games from so many different systems, from the Atari Jaguar, the 2600, the 5200, the 7800, and, so many different systems, so many different generations, even some arcade cabinet games. And it's just so much fun to play this. And I have the Atari Flashbacks collection, but this one seems just so much more polished. I absolutely loved the time that I spent with this, and I go back to this regularly to get my dose of Crystal Castles, for one, which I absolutely love the arcade version of, as well as the 2600 version of. But there are so many great games to check out here, and the really neat thing about this is if you have an arcade stick, it's a little closer to the original experience of playing with an Atari controller than just a regular, Switch thing. So I play this on the TV with my arcade stick, my 8-bit DOE arcade stick, and I have a blast with it. So if you're looking for some retro game compilations, look no further than Atari 50 for hours and hours and hours of gameplay fun. All right, here's another kind of action-adventure, action RPG game that I absolutely love, and this is one of those that fall into the category of impossible port, and that is Nier Automata. This game is absolutely mind-blowingly good. Like 11 out of 10 game, which I've said several times in this list, and this is not hyperbole at all. I absolutely believe with every word that I say here that these games that I'm showing you are the best of the best of the best that you can get on the Switch. And Nier Automata, while this may not be the best version of this game in existence, this is one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch as far as graphics and visuals. Absolutely stunning. They have managed to get performance and visuals out of this game that rival anything on the Switch up to this point, and that includes, you know, several other games that are sort of impossible ports as well, like the Metroid Prime Remastered, which I don't think I have in this list. It's back there, but it should be on this list as well, but we'll just sort of let that slide for now and move on to the other Kirby game that I was talking about, and that is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I owned this when it first came out, and I almost beat it, and then I didn't, and I set it down, and I ended up trading it to somebody for something, I can't remember what, and I actually just repurchased this today. And this is the reason I'm making this video today, because this game is so good that it was worth me buying it full price. Well, actually I got a bit of a deal at it, but almost full price twice. This game is fantastic. This is bar none the best 3D platformer on the Nintendo Switch. The visuals are stunning. The gameplay is so inventive, so creative. It's absolutely, you know what, Mario Odyssey, step aside. This is the best 3D platformer on the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't played it yet and you haven't played a Kirby game, you owe it to yourself to check this game out. See if GameStop has it on sale, played, whatever. I think I paid $51 for this Canadian, as opposed to $79.99 or whatever, so I got a pretty good deal on it. But check it out, absolutely worth every penny, even if you have to pay full price. All right, we're getting to the end of the list here. I have a couple of big box special editions of games that I absolutely love. I have not beaten either one of these games, but I have a lot of respect and love for them. First one here is Made in Abyss. Now, I did not know when I purchased this game initially that this is based on an existing anime. And this basically retells the story of the existing anime. But the gameplay in this is really, really cool. And the graphics in this are really, really gorgeous. So the idea with this game is that you're basically some kind of like a hunter, you know, a treasure hunter sort of character, and you have to go into this abyss and find items and get deeper and deeper in the abyss and find special items, rare items and stuff like that, and bring them back to the surface and sell them or whatever. And man, oh man, oh man, this game is absolutely gorgeous, and the sense of discovery and the tension, because it's got this mechanic where you can go down really easily, but coming back up is really, really hard. So you have to be careful, you know, as you climb. If you climb too fast, you'll pass out and fall off the cliff or whatever. And so there's a lot of tension there that's really, really kind of spicy when you're playing this game. You know, you got to be careful not to get too far down, or you won't have the stamina to get back and stuff. The visuals are really nice. There's some interesting simple combat. I really like simple action combat where you just kind of hack and slash with your sword. You have a basic magic attack or something. Really cute art style. I really like the art style in this. And the special edition of this game can still be purchased for about the price of a regular edition of other games. This was kind of a budget release from Spike Chunsoft. They usually make visual novels, or most often make visual novels. It's actually kind of unusual for them to make a full adventure game like this, so I jumped on it right away, and I absolutely love what I've spent time with this game so far. And then this one, Trinity Trigger. I actually mentioned this in a pickups video at the beginning of the year. I think I picked it. I think this came out in January or something, or just beginning of the year or last winter sometime. I never got to beat this game. I never got more than, I would say, 3 or so hours into the game. Not because there was anything wrong with the game, but there were just so many games coming out. We were coming up on, trying to get ready for Tears of the Kingdom, and, there's so many other games coming out that it just sort of got lost in the shuffle, but I do definitely want to get back into this game. I played it long enough to know that it is absolutely quality through and through. This is a fantastic, adventure, sort of hack and slash, sort of RPG, but not really. It's more of an adventure game. I really love the art style in this. It's a really beautiful art style. The combat reminds me of Fantasy Life combat. You have a couple of different characters. You've got your Trinity, for example, and so you've got 3 different characters with 3 different abilities, and you can sort of swap back and forth between them. Absolutely love that kind of thing. It also reminds me of the combat in Trine, for example. Trine is a 2D adventure series, whereas this is 3D, but that same sort of idea. It's not a new idea, but it's executed really, really well. There's a really cool story in this game to be had. And again, these, special editions are pretty accessible, pretty cheap, and it's really nice on a shelf. But again, the game plays absolutely beautifully on the Nintendo Switch. Just gorgeous graphics and stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching this comeback video as I've come back from the dead, as it were, being gone for almost 2 months. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of these games and what are some of your must-play games that you think are just, the Switch is the best place to play them. Let me know down in those comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay classy.